Hello and welcome to tonight's All Things Quiz. I'm Gareth. Joining me today will be a number of guests. We've got Jamie Frier, who is on the Barons on tonight's Only Connect. We've got Claire Barrow, who's been on this series of Mastermind. And we'll also have Emma Harris, who'll be joining us in a few minutes as well. She's an alumnus of Only Connect, but got our full screen. First of all, just a quick rundown of a couple of things that you may have missed. And so on Thursday night, we had Quiz Week, which is our roundup of competitive quiz news. So one of the guests, as you can see on the screen, was Nicholas Pang. He is from Malaysia. He got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to join us to tell us about the Asian Quiz League. So it was brilliant to see Nicholas. Next week, we'll also be having Quiz Week on Thursday starting at 8 o'clock. Now, one of the things we're doing on Twitter and Facebook is This Is the Answer, What is the Question? The one that we've got live at the moment is rock. The answer is rock, and people have been writing questions. The question has been submitted and shortlisted, and there will now be a survey for people to vote on to decide what their favorite question is. There'll be a semi-final and then a final. So we'll publish the link to those votes later this evening. And we also do a vote for Quiz of the Week and Quiz Team of the Week. The nominations come out on Thursday on Quiz Week. And the winners this week were, first was Ujwal Deb for his performance in the Quiz League of London. Michael Cohn from University Challenge was second. And third was Chris Devine, who had a fantastic week in the lowbrow Mimir competition. But in a very good week for the Quiz League of London, the quiz team of the week was the Division 1 champions, a newly crowned Division 1 champions Nomads. They came first. Third degree Vern from the online quiz league came second, and the student team from our Quiz Bowl team, Reverse Beatles, came third. So congratulations to them. And moving on. We've got a new video coming out. It's a new series called the Quiz Academy, and the first one is going to come out probably tomorrow morning, depending on upload speeds. And the series, this one is Things Every Quizzer Should Try to Learn. It's a short video trying to give people guidance on the sorts of things to prioritize. Quiz Academy will all be about helping you to become a better quizzer. So look out for that next week. Also look out for the speed. We've got the play along speed, which we released last week. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be releasing the final episode of the Quiz Omnium this week, the full-blown speed episode. So that's a few bits of housekeeping. Don't think there's anything else to bring up. So we'll move on to tonight's episode. So I'm delighted to welcome onto the stream, welcome back in both cases, Jamie Frier and Barrow. Hello.
Hi there.
Hello. Jamie, what can I say? Except post a comment or question in the chat if you've got anything you want to say to Jamie. But and we will probably get onto the obvious thing later. But hard luck, Jamie. Hard luck.
Yeah, it was. It was a very, very tough game. It was kind of back and forth. I mean, when they got a 3-pointer on the very first question, we thought we're in for a tough one here. And then it just went back and forth, and we got the lead, and we ruined the wall, and then found out that they had done nearly as badly as us, but they just blew us away on that missing vowels round. They really did. Very quick, very strong. About 4 or 5 of them, I was buzzing as well. Gareth and Kieran both were buzzing, but every single one they just edged us out by that split second. And no, fully deserved winners. They're very clever people, but more importantly, absolutely delightful people who were wonderful in the green room afterwards. And we just wish them all the best in the semis and hopefully final, because they deserve it. They're a great team.
And anybody? Can anybody hear me?
I was able to hear you at first, and then you disappeared.
Okay, so we might have a little issue. Let me.
I can just hear you, but you're very faint.
Okay. So bear with me. Every game I've only connected is a tough game for me, lol. Apparently, I've gone even quieter now. Jamie,
That's better.
Yeah. Better. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me put this right in front of my face. Is that any better?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay. So so I've all sorts of feedback. I've gone even quieter. Jamie is very loud, and you're very quiet. And Will just says I'm very faint. I didn't think this would be the talking point of tonight's QUIZZY Monday.
I'm so glad it is.
So
The whole house can hear Jamie.
these are these clever mics that kind of pick up in one direction and not in other directions. And in this case, it's just playing around with me. So before we crack on to Only Connect, let's just touch on Mastermind, which was our first episode tonight. It wasn't the highest scoring game, but boy, it showed the value of not passing, didn't it?
It did.
Won by Bryony. She picked a really, really broad subject. Greek
Wasn't it just?
You don't see that sort of thing much anymore.
So
I was really impressed.
Over summer, I read Mythos by Stephen Fry, and which basically takes you through the entirety of Greek mythology, basically. And I remember at times I was just reading this book for enjoyment, and I was just getting overwhelmed by the sheer volume of names, who birthed who, and various relationships. And it was a thick old book with hundreds of names. So to choose that subject that has such a huge number of people, there's names involved, was a brave move indeed. But she was superb.
She was. I'm just adding Emma to the stream. Welcome, Emma.
Good evening, everyone.
How did you get on in your lowbrow Mimir tonight?
It was very, very close. I led for the most of the first half, and I ended up losing to my teammate in the OQL. So well done, Simon. So yeah, second to him.
Okay. Claire, I think we've got some issues with feedback on your feed. I don't know if there's any, if you could plug in headphones or anything like that.
I have to go and get them.
Okay, cheers.
Bear with me.
So I'll just mute Claire while that starts, and then that will tidy things up. So yeah, we're looking at Mastermind. Emma, did you manage to catch Mastermind tonight?
Only bits, I'm afraid. 7:30 is not really a good time for me to watch TV, but I believe a young lady won.
Yeah, Brian.
Ellie?
Yeah.
Oh, Bryony, sorry, Bryony.
Yeah, she did really well. One on passes. I think the thing that stood out for me from this episode was a couple of adjudications. And normally we don't like to talk about kind of the writing adjudication side of things. But I think when Trevor on Sydney Poitier said Lily of the Fields and wasn't allowed it.
I wrote that down as well.
And then later on, Sue said 5 minutes matter or something like that and left out a word when it was 5 minutes that matter. It felt like quite an uneven adjudication. And possibly if she'd have had that point, not had that point, then Bryony would have won straight off without anything. It didn't really affect Trevor's chances, but it did mean if Bryony had lost on passes rather than winning on passes, I think she might have been ruining that decision.
I completely agree with that. When I was watching, I thought, oh, that's a little bit tough. But with Trevor's question, but he got the wrong names. So, and when it's something specific like that, maybe that was okay to give a wrong answer because he didn't give the correct answer. I mean, would a Godfather be a correct answer if it's the Godfather, for example? But then to give Sue the point for missing out the word that, which again I think is crucial to that answer. Yeah, I did think that was a little bit of an odd, borderline double standards. You either give them both or you give neither.
Yeah, no, I thought that was interesting. Have you had any adjudications you would have issues with in your time?
I mean, I got really lucky in our last game when there was a question, and if any of the Dungeon Masters are watching, I'm very, very sorry for this. In our round 2 game, when there was this, what comes fourth, and it was peduncle, bunch, hand, and then the final answer was banana, because it was groups of bananas getting lesser. It was our question. I just blindly guessed finger, and we were told no. The other team got the answer, and they knew straight away it was banana, so they said banana. But then the pools panel up in the gallery said, actually, we're going to adjudicate that was correct, because a banana can technically be a finger, is known as a finger, like an individual banana is a finger. So we got that on an outrageous technicality, which they still haven't let me forget about. But yeah, so sometimes if you're close enough, I think it's fair to get. But when it's an actual out and out name of a thing, like, yeah, like if you're doing live and let die, live and allow die, that's wrong. But sometimes there's leeway on things where it's a broader answer, I think. Yeah.
I apologise to Pammy, who says she's turned me up and now everyone else is deafening. So we're going to struggle for calibration here. I'm not quite sure what the issue is. This mic should be plugged in nicely, but
I'll try and talk quieter.
am I clear enough now, or is that yeah, cool.
Good for me.
Zachary has put in a comment. I've noticed on Mastermind University Challenge that missing an article is way too cruel. Someone saying Great Gatsby instead of The Great Gatsby. Normally the article isn't really required. It would seem like quite a cruel adjudication. But yeah, I mean, as I say, tonight it just kind of stood out really at me. No such problems in Only Connect though, which was another good episode. Was really, really tight, going into the missing vowels, and then something happened. Jamie, you guys were just blitzed on the missing vowels.
Yeah, it's odd because it's something we've been good at in previous rounds. In our round 1 and our repertoire round 2.5, we were quite strong. We did, and that was how we won. Basically, I think we were losing both times and came through in the missing vowels. But both times against the Dungeon Masters, we've been absolutely, as you say, blitzed in that round because they are fast and their name and their knowledge is broad. So I think in round 2, Sam absolutely crushed it when it came to, I think it's bands and fairy tales, answer smashed together, and because that just fell right into his wheelhouse. This time, you had 3 people who are really strong in politics, so that American presidents and US prime ministers one went really well, and with the Spaniels one afterwards, Charlie and I both said we were waiting for King Charles. We were poised there, ready for it. And then when it came, the second it came up, both of us slammed the button, but he was there by a split second faster. So yeah, it was. I'm quite glad they didn't have a wide shot during that third one, because I assume you've seen that Icelandic University Challenge clip.
Yes.
I was so close to being that guy because I was like, is this buzzer not working? Because this is like the 4th time. But having seen them in the previous round, I just knew they were quick and fully deserved. They knew it, and they knew it faster than we did.
Yeah, and it comes down to small margins, and you didn't get any luck on the wall. Shame Ariana Grande wasn't in missing vowels.
All right, we've got to this now for you now.
Yeah, well, indeed. I mean, yes, we
so. But basically what happened was we saw that first picture, and my tactic in general was, unless you know absolutely from the first one who it is, what it is. You can, unless you're very confident straight on, you go straight onto the third one quickly, because 99 times out of 100 you're not going to get a 5-pointer. So move on to clue 2 as fast as possible. I looked at the picture, saw a bald guy, wasn't entirely sure who he was, so just thought, so didn't give it enough of a look, and then went through. Eventually we saw, Magnum, we saw Grande, and so we thought, okay, right, so it's big, or size is big, I think that's fine. And so, as with so many, we got the answer without really knowing most of the answers, most of the clues. And then when Victoria said it's Christian Gross, if I could have been swallowed, I mean, I should have left the studio then and there and brought in a sub, because I'm a Tottenham fan, I'm a sports journalist. Yeah, that's going to be mentioned when I get back into work, definitely.
Do you think,
if I'm allowed in,
will it erase flaps as known as?
Let's see.
Don't understand that reference. Watch the last time Jamie was on, and you'll see the story. Martin apologizes for bringing it up.
It was inevitable. It was inevitable.
So Claire ducked out in order to change her laptop, see if we could get a non-echoey feedback. I don't quite know where Emma's gone. So at the moment, Jamie, it's you.
I mean, that is generally what happens. I start telling stories, and then all the women in the room leave. So,
well, I'm not sure that's true. We did. Sorry, I've just got a comment here. I thought the first guy was Gianni Infantino. As soon as you were told it's Christian Gross, I was thinking, yes, of course it's. I have to say, I wouldn't have known what Christian Gross looked like after all this time. He's one of those guys who just has skipped into the memory from my part.
And anyone post, I mean, I promise you, I'm not going to go down the road of before my time, because that's a horrendous quizzing out. But I think if it had been anyone post Christian Gross, George Graham onwards, I would have been there. Even Juan de Ramos or Jack Santini, I probably would have got it. But yeah, Jerry Francis would have been. You can't not recognise Jerry Francis. But yeah, Christian Gross just beat me to it. So yeah, words will be had.
Unfortunate. Well, we welcome Claire back to the stream. Hi, Claire.
Hi there. Sorry about that.
That's all right. No worries. Then that's all. That's sorted the echo. So now we just need Emma back from wherever she's gone. And we've got a full house. Gerard says your Hugh Grant voice. I think Gerard just likes the novelty contestant, don't you, Gerard?
Thank you for making me the novelty contestant. I'll take that. That's exactly what I expected to be when we first went on this show. We applied and got on it with absolutely no pretenses of getting anywhere near the quarterfinals. We thought, genuinely, our target was, if we get into the teens in round 1 in terms of points, we'll go away happy. We never expected to win a match, and so to win 2, get 20 plus points twice, we just didn't expect it at all. So novelty contestant would very much have been my expectation going in.
Claire, you have been on Mastermind this series, and you've made the semi-finals. What were your kind of ambitions when you went on Mastermind? Was it just hope I don't humiliate myself, or was it, did you think, okay, I want to win this, I want to win this whole damn thing, or I just want to be competitive? What were you thinking?
Well, I'm very competitive, so I would have been very disappointed to have gone out in the first round. And once I'd won the first round, it's a case of, well, the world's now your oyster, so there's no reason why you couldn't consider it being a possibility of going all the way. That's of course before you've met all the other people that were involved. Because when you win the first round, obviously you've only met the 3 people you've just beaten, and you haven't you haven't met anybody else.
And that's perhaps a little bit different from pre-COVID, where you would probably meet the set of players in the episode before you and the set of players in the episode after you, because everybody mingles in the green room normally, but
Yeah.
presumably during
Yeah, we
COVID,
didn't have a green room
you're
at
all
all.
kept well apart. Yeah.
Yeah. All stuck in
how
our
was
own
that
little
for you?
dressing room, and
Yeah, so
it's
you
not
kept in the
fun.
dressing room and then meet people when you need to meet them. Was
Yeah,
that the same for
we
you,
mingled a
Jamie?
bit more at the hotel.
Yeah, that's good.
It was a bit different for Only Connect. I don't know how it normally is, but it was the green room was essentially set up like a what we'll call the green room was set up like a school hall. So there were trestle tables in rows of 3 going back by 4, so like a 3x4 grid of trestle tables, and we each got our individual one, so we were 2 meters away from everybody at all times, including our teammates. So we were able to talk to the team behind us, and then while you were filming, the next 2 teams came in, so you're able to meet other people briefly, and so that's how you got to meet a few of the people who you didn't play against. And so it was interesting watching the show back to go, oh yes, I recognize that person, never played against them, spoke to them for 5 minutes, but I recognized them. So there was a bit of a chat, but it's staggered so that 90% of the time you're only chatting to your teammates and the people you're up against. And then there's a bit of a 5-10 minute overlap where you get to see a couple of teams, have a little bit of a chat, but not a lot of that. So that's how that side of it worked, really. So I don't know how what's the word, like, sociable it is normally. I'm sure it's great fun because pretty much everyone who goes on that show seems to be lovely. So I'm sure it's a little bit more communal, but it was the same, just a bit spaced out.
We've got a question here from Martin Kennett. He's sending us lots of stuff at the moment. Have you been on any other quiz shows? Claire, have you done anything else?
Yeah, I had a bit of I did quite a lot of quiz shows back in the 90s up to about 2002. I've done 15 to 1 3 times, catchword, countdown, bits and pieces, like there was 100% and One to Win, and something called the National Geo Genius.
Oh yeah.
And there was something I did down in Kent, I can't even remember what it was called. And The Weakest Link and The People Versus.
Okay, yes. I
had a big gap between 2002 and the current series of Mastermind.
Yeah. So I think National Geo Genius is a show that I really liked it. I thought the format was really good. But yes,
I've never heard of it. What was it? What was it?
It was on National Geographic Channel, and basically you were kind of racing around the world from country to country, and it was all geography, that sort of thing. But I thought it was really good, and the good thing about it was you won air miles.
I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
You won air miles, and back in the day when you could do things with air miles, and I think I won one episode and won about 16,500 air miles, which paid for a couple of flights.
Yeah, I got 13,000 air miles.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. A lot of shows don't, like Mastermind, don't give you anything for winning an episode. Likewise, Only Connect. So it was quite a novelty. Maybe days were different back then.
I mean, you barely get anything for winning the entire show on Only Connect. a trophy delivered behind the closing credits. I think that's what it is.
Jamie, have you done any other TV shows?
Yes. So, my first one was Tipping Point Series 2 back in 2013. But the story attached to that is I was 23 at the time, and I won it against a couple of quizzing legends who've been on quite a few things, and fluked my way to a win. But unfortunately, one of the questions was about Oscar Pistorius, and the episode was due to air 2 days after he shot Reba Steenkamp, and so the episode got pulled, and then they said we'll postpone it, then ended up cancelling entirely. So yes, unfortunately, I won the jackpot on that, but it never got shown, so my debut never made it to air. The following year, I did The Chase.
Did you still get the money?
Yes. Oh yeah, I made sure of that.
Oh,
But
sorry.
yeah. But one of the frustrating things was I was told to keep it secret, obviously, until the airing date, which I did, from everyone except the very closest family. And then they kept saying, we're going to delay it. We're going to delay it to the end of the series and then till next series. And so I kept having to keep stum just in case it went out. And then eventually, I think it was about another 6 months later, they said, okay, we're not going to show it ever now. So then I had to tell people. But yeah, so that was an awkwardness. But yeah, the year later I did the chase. I was up against Cinnamon, and he caught us with about 30 seconds to go. It was yeah, a bit of a brutalizing that. 15-1 as well. I got down. What was that, about 3 or 4 years ago? That was Flaps. And I got down to the final 2 and ended up losing by 1 question to the guy who came eventual grand final runner up. So yes, I was happy with that, but so near but yet so far. And then Countdown last year. And again, I mean, it's a bit of a trait on my quiz show appearances at the moment, because 15-1, so close to making the grand final, but just missed out. The chase made it to the final chase, but got caught. Countdown, I was leading by about 15 points going into the final numbers game. He got closer than me on the final numbers game, and so came down to a crucial conundrum with me still in the lead, and then he got the conundrum. So he kind of ate into a 15-point gap lead with the last 2 rounds, which is devastating again. And then only connected my last one, and yeah, leading going into the missing vowels round, and then get absolutely crushed in that one. So I'm just really happy that I'm a Tottenham fan, because I've got used to perennial disappointments. So near the yet so far.
So we got a couple of comments. Michael saying, "Phew, at least you got the money." Well, I think that would be a definite bonus to actually get the money and not the notoriety. And it's good to go for tipping point before you kind of did the harder stuff. And Gerard's saying, for Only Connect, there's 1 trophy shared between everybody on Only Connect. So Richard Aubrey from the string section, who beat them, had 2 copies made for his other teammates. Some other teams did that. We've got a comment here from Harry Regan. Hey all, found the stream. Hope you all enjoyed the Uni Challenge episode tonight. We were pretty blown away by Balial's performance, but we had an awesome time quizzing with them. Harry is clearly from the Durham team, so welcome, welcome Harry. It was a strong.
We got one of the bonuses. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a strong performance by Balial tonight. They set off really quickly, and Durham just couldn't get a run going on the buzzer, and it was a tough one. Be interesting, Harry, how you kind of found it. If you can zap us a message in there, how you found it in the game. Did you feel you were just being beaten on the buzzer? Be interesting to hear what you were thinking about that. But buzzer races are critical, as you were saying, Jamie, with Only Connect, and it's the same with the University Challenge. You can know all the same stuff, but if you're a fraction of a second late, that's all that matters. It's quite binary. You're either in first or you're not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then lots of people afterwards saying, "How didn't you get that?" And I knew it. I definitely knew it, but I just didn't know it as quickly as the other people knew it.
So I made a comment about tipping point, and Michael McPartland, 10 grand winner of Michael McPartland of tipping point, says underrated show tipping point. They do have good quizzes on. I got on and won 10 grand after I'd made the mastermind final. Now that I would say that's probably quite unusual for a player as good as Michael to get.
That is interesting.
Point, having been in the grand final of mastermind, because my general theory is you get the big money stuff done out of the way, and then do the prestige shows, because you generally don't get to do it the other way around, apart from Michael. So that was good.
There's hope for me then. I've applied for it.
Yeah.
Well, definite. There are a couple of things that made me happy watching University Challenge tonight. One was that beautiful moment when Crowther from Balial, having buzzed in on Tristram Shandy, and got it wrong. A couple of starters later, it was Tristram Shandy. She only taken on that.
Yeah, that was great.
A tremendous moment. And the other moment I liked was there was one bit where Schofield of Balliol just reacted with such joy to getting a buzzer question right. And I thought that's what it means, you know, in that competitive environment. It's like scoring a goal. That's how good it means. But there was a lot of stuff all the way through that episode which I thought was really good. Did anything stand out to you guys?
I just thought it was a really, really powerful performance by Balliol. Like they, good breadth of knowledge, quick, and I think they work quite well as a team. There are some episodes where you think it's basically two people working their way through it. The team captain will turn to one person 7 times out of 10. But I quite like the way that they kind of work together as a team. Everyone kind of chipping in here and there. So yes, I think it's a strong performance there.
Yeah, Claire, was what stood out to you, if anything?
Well, I was trying to keep score of who got what. So I got Schofield with 4 starters and O'Connor with 5 in Balliol, and Banbury with 4 in Durham, which is quite a decent haul for the 3 of them.
Yeah, some very strong performances. Interesting. Harry has thank you, Harry. You chipped in here. There were quite a few buzzes. Let me see if I can get my. Quite a few buzzes where we were only a millisecond behind, and that's the thing, as we were saying. Bonuses didn't fall our way, so even when you get in, if you can't capitalise, it's hard work. They were just quicker and sharper, and kept on preventing us from getting into our rhythm. And that's the thing. If you're behind, you want to get on a roll, and you want to get some momentum to try and kind of claw the psychological advantage back. And it's the same in University Challenge. Only Connect. It's the same in Mastermind. You want to be on a roll, that feeling that you're going to get the next one, you're going to get the next one. And it's unfortunate for Durham that didn't happen.
I was about to say, like, when I think the best round in Tipping Point is round 2, where you just get your 30 seconds to answer as many questions as you can as possible, because it's just bang, 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 go, 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 and you can get on a roll, get on a rhythm, and then you can really have a sense of achievement if you've been going well. And same in the cash builder for the chase. You can, if you're on a roll, you build your confidence, you build your speed, and then you do really well. Whereas when it's a bit more fragmented, if you haven't answered a question for a while, you start getting twitchy fingers and you can't start getting anxious that, am I ever going to get the chance to buzz again? So I really feel for them there, that the fact that, yeah, when you keep getting beaten, it just kind of dampens your confidence even more than if you didn't know the answer at all, because you think, I could have got that, and then you're like you're kind of dwelling on it a little bit because you thought, I knew it, I should have been faster, and you're not so concentrated on the next question. Whereas if you didn't know it, you just hold your hands up and think, on to the next one. Yeah,
Claire, in your first round Mastermind heat, did you ever get into that zone where you just the points just kept coming and you just thought, hey, this is going well? Did you ever get in that zone?
Yeah, the first round, it was great. In the general knowledge round, I only got 3 wrong. So I was well chuffed with that.
Yeah. So the converse thing, of course, is the pressure that comes on you when things aren't falling your way. And we saw that on the wall. Jamie, was there a point where kind of sort of clarity of thought or technique just kind of deserted you and blind panic came in?
Yeah, from the moment we walked into the building. No, so straight off the bat, we saw what we knew were either helicopters or kind of Native American tribes, because we saw Chinook and Apache. So we thought, right, we've got that, and then we saw links and thought, okay, that's a helicopter. So we were going on that for a bit, and then thought we got to change it up here because we got no idea what the 4th one could be. Then we saw Shore, Dove, and Lynx, and thought, okay, we got deodorants there. Tried it, but again, we just couldn't make the 4th one stick or the trio. I mean, as it happens, I don't think we ever tried Mitchum or Mum, because the three of us had never ever heard of them. So we only ever had 2 of the deodorants, despite seeing 4. You only ever had 2 of the helicopters, despite seeing 4, because they were red herrings in other groups. And so, yeah, we were quite composed in the first 3, where we were, if there were 5 in a group, we went round the houses, got it, process of elimination, we got down there. But this time, yeah, when it got to the final minute or so, we didn't have a clue about 2 of the groups. We were fairly confident about 2 of the others, but couldn't find the combination. Yeah, there started to be a bit of a panic press. Yeah, especially when I think with the words for where in different languages, just didn't see that at all. So yeah, but it was. What's so frustrating though is having watched the Dungeon Masters Wall, knew all of them, didn't we? So gutting it, and it's exactly like my first appearance on 15 to 1, because I was number 13 or 12 or 13, I must have known 10 of the first 12 answers came to me, and it's a question that I didn't have a clue about. And so it's so frustrating when you're like, I know that, I don't know mine. So just didn't fall our way. But yeah, there was definitely an element of panic setting in, because we thought we've got to get some of these, because they were such a strong team. We expected them to crush their wall.
It's we got Pammy saying I was shouting at you.
So, can I just tell you something? So I was watching this episode back with my wife Zara. Hello, Zara. And literally the first thing, so Zara's not a quizzer. She doesn't really enjoy it very much at all. I've forced her into watching Only Connect, and she's grown to love the show, even if she doesn't understand most of it. But we do kind of puzzle grid walls fairly often. And so she really enjoys the last 2 rounds. Literally the first thing that she said when the wall appeared was, so Chinook's a salmon. Where were you? Where were you when we needed you? Because I'd never heard of a Chinook salmon. And just didn't have the foggiest on that. My first thought, you saw Chinook, you think that's obviously a helicopter. Zara, first thought, salmon. And she also knew the deodorants as well. So we really needed her in that one. But that's what's so great about that show, is that it can be absolutely anything. There's one, there's that famous time when Victoria, they saw, it was a group just like Horan, Styles, Malik, and Tomlinson, and they said, "Is this poet laureates?" And the surnames of members of One Direction, and Victoria just went into fits of laughter. And that's what's so brilliant, the fact that you need such an incredibly wide range of knowledge that people can know. University Challenge is like a step above, where you need a range of knowledge, but it's got to be kind of master's PhD level knowledge. Whereas this is, do you know your fish? And so it's some stuff that everybody can know, but if you don't have that individual bit of knowledge. But yeah, we'd have got about 4 more points if we had Zara with us.
I mean, this is a catchphrase waiting to happen. Undone salmon. That could be the catchphrase of when something just doesn't fall your way. Ali Lloyd said that happened to the Puzzle Hunters in our first match against the Sliders. We also got 2 on the wall. You just descend into panic. It really, the pressure is quite intense when you're in that situation. We've had one reminder of what probably was the champagne moment of University Challenge. So I'm flitting around here, but the whole whore, no, surely not whore, just say whore. That happened to be one of the finest University Challenge moments of the series.
There's a nickname there.
I suppose I can understand the captain's thinking, are you guys setting me up for something here? Am I going to be all right on the night in the future? But that was a tremendous moment. We've had another couple of comments. Michael's from Middlesbrough. He says, normally I support Durham on UC as Teesside University have yet to get on, so I was hoping they'd win. But unforgivable to go on Durham Uni and say that High Force is on the weir rather than the tees. And Harry Regan says, I don't blame you, to be honest, Michael. Definitely a weak point for us. Hard to explore the region without a car.
Oh,
that's what's happened to students now that they don't have cars.
don't they have bikes?
I think it would be a little bit of a schlep to get out to High Force, to be fair, on a bike. A little bit bumpy. Grace says, I've given up trying to play the wall when I watch. It's too hard to concentrate when you have dyspraxia. I guess there is something about some of these shows and kind of access to them. I know we've had a blind contestant on Mastermind before and Only Connect, but I guess there are some mental gymnastics that are just simply mitigated against if you have a particular condition, which I think would be very hard.
Although I have seen someone once before who said that they have. I mean, I could have been absolutely done by someone making a joke here. I'm not entirely sure, but I have seen someone say that they have dyslexia, and they find the anagrams really easy because they're seeing things in a slightly odd way anyway, different way anyway, and so anagrams are almost, if you've got dyslexia, sometimes they can be resolved for you. And so, I mean, it could have been a joke that I've not quite got, but I kind of see a logic there that if you get letters in the wrong way round anyway, to then have them resolved for you could be a bit of a winner when it comes to that.
Yeah, I imagine shows like this self-select people out who just simply can't do it. But it is an interesting thing, are there games that could be done which would favour them more? Something to ponder for another time. Another thing to ponder for Michael. We'll have to play that line from Ebenezer Good where Mr. C says, "Has anybody got any salmon?" So this is going to run and run.
At least everyone's forgotten about Christian Gross.
So Grace says it's a type of learning disability. I also have an executive functioning disorder. So it's a bit hard with jumbled clues on the wall. Missing vowels usually come easy to me. That's the thing. And the thing is, Grace is one of our regular viewers and clearly loves the show, and has said previously about how she's been kind of box setting Only Connect during lockdown. So it's great that there's something that kind of works really well for Grace and her learning style, and she can enjoy it. So that's wonderful. And it's good to always have you on board, Grace. Another thing I noticed on University Challenge tonight, in one of our very early videos on All Things Quiz, probably back in October when we first started, we bemoaned the lack of diversity on the University Challenge particularly. And we acknowledge that they've been trying hard to improve these things, but we bemoaned it, and we bemoaned the knowledge of one of the teams. Well, tonight we had a set of bonuses on Whoopi Goldberg, but the thing that really impressed me was the abolitionist set. The Sojourner Truth was identified, which kind of, almost puts right some of the criticisms from earlier in the series. That was a really good buzz, really good to identify her. And then I think they picked up Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass. So 4 marks from me for kind of the diversity box in that, and also to the team. I thought that was very good. Your experience of Only Connect and Mastermind, have you had any feeling that there are issues in that regard in terms of diversity and representation, or do you think they're kind of fairly good at representing different cultures and different demographics?
I think Mastermind is really good. I mean, if you've been watching the heats, you'll see everything represented.
And tonight we had Sydney Poitier as a specialist subject, which was good. We have had some subjects pretty much every week actually, which show some diversity. But a lot of that, of course, comes down to the contestants as well. It's not a lot that the setters can do.
Sorry, I was talking about the contestants, not the subjects.
Oh yes, no, there's certainly been efforts made there to broaden the contestant pool. Coming back to something we've said previously about who the next host should be, you can't be what you can't see. If you have a different kind of face up there, then you'll inspire different people, and that goes for contestants, it goes for the questions, it goes for the presenter. So if everything is homogenous, you'll get the same type of person. University Challenge has its diversity, Jamie. I don't know. I've never really thought about the subject matter though, the questions.
Yeah, that's not something I've really occurred to me. I mean, with the University Challenge, obviously it's so academic, and I think it's fairly worldly. But are the worldly questions more geography? Where is this? You should know your landmarks, rather than people, religions, and that kind of variety that you might not, that wouldn't normally be in a set of quiz questions. So I think University Challenge is probably the most global and diverse in terms of potential subject matter, because a lot of quiz questions are based around sport, music, TV, film, etc. Whereas University Challenge takes it to a different level in terms of things you should know that most people wouldn't know. And I think the same goes for University Challenge. Same goes for Only Connect, in that they're asking a lot of questions that a lot of people wouldn't be expected to know, and then that falls quite nicely into the lap of diverse and more far-reaching questions. I mean, I can't think of anything specific that kind of would speak to a more diverse audience, but a lot of especially the picture rounds, you're thinking, you should know who this person is, and it's not just a US president or a film star. So yeah, so I think the QUIZZY Monday shows do better than most in terms of that kind of question. In terms of contestants, I think especially women are quite well represented in Only Connect. It might be partly to do with the fact that Victoria's the host, and as you say, you can't be what you can't see. So with a woman hosting, that might encourage more women to be on the show. I think, at least half the quarterfinalists. I think more than half the quarterfinalists, their team captain was a woman on the show, and that's something I noticed the other day. I thought, all right, so this is very much the year of the victorious female captain, it seems.
Well,
nice
yeah,
to see.
hopefully that's not a spoiler.
In terms of getting to the latter stages, I promise you, I've got no idea what happens beyond my round. No idea who the Dungeon Masters are playing next, or the semis or final, I promise.
Good. Michael says, great answer from Sojourner Truth. Got 3 bonuses, but nowhere on the first one, although I've heard of her. I mean, that was hard. And great to see it got. We've got Grace has just thrown in the fun fact that Daniel Radcliffe has written questions for Only Connect, and he also has dyspraxia, so that's good. We've got a question posed here by Dan Afshar. I'd be interested to know what you think. Do you think University Challenge should be undergrads only, or is it right/fair to include postgrad and mature students? Sometimes you see a team of under-20s versus teams with mature 50-plus students. Unfair? Claire, what do you think?
I don't think it's unfair, because I think they might know different things. I think it makes it interesting for those of us watching. So no, I don't think they should limit it to undergrads only.
I know at one point there was a sort of thing, you must have like another year or so on your studies, which was counting out master's students. That seems to have been dropped, but that there was that for a period. Jamie, any thoughts from you on university?
I do kind of think that it should be your undergrads only, because it's probably not fair, but yeah, when I've read something not that long ago about, there was a series where the average age of the contestant was something like 34, and is that kind of taking away from the university challenge aspect of it? They're all going to university, so in essence there shouldn't be a problem with it. But yes, it does seem a bit strange sometimes where there are so many postgrads and master's students there. Whereas, yeah, I think in the early days it probably would have just been, are you doing your 3 years at this university, represent it? And yeah, I think mature students will have likely to have a broader knowledge range than university students. So does that slightly unlevel the playing fields? It's such a tricky one. If I was in charge, I probably would say just undergrad students. I wouldn't probably put an age limit on it, but yeah, I think you should be in a 3-year course, study course, rather than a master's.
Yeah, I mean, I would jump at it if I could get on and do a postgraduate certificate and manage to get on University Challenge. I'd jump.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, from when I was at university, universities were dominated in those days. God, it makes me sound really old. In the 90s, honest.
1890s.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamie. Dominated by the 18 to 21-year-old bracket. That was the vast majority of the students back then. I think the student demographic has changed. I think it has drifted upwards, and obviously not just with the expansion of higher education and whatever, the age profile of undergraduates has changed. So I think it's right to say, you know, whoever qualifies, irrespective of age, should be in. I think you might restrict it, you know, say it's got to be degree level or above. You might want to say it's got to be a more than 1 year program, which I think they've done in the past, but that got them in trouble, I think, with the Gail Trimble year. I think that was what tripped them up there. So I don't think I'd exclude anyone based on demographics. You might want to say it's undergraduate only. Michael says, for me, anyone who's going to university, regardless of what level of qualification they're going for, so I think anything degree or upwards would be fine. Zachary is saying, doesn't seem unfair, especially when you see first year students absolutely dominating graduate students, though maybe there's something said about it all. From what I know about Quiz Bowl, which is the kind of the student academic quizzing, is that there are a lot of ferociously hungry and talented young players, and they devote an enormous amount of time to expanding their knowledge and learning the canon that comes up. And perhaps the older students, they might bring different things to the table, but perhaps they don't have the time or might have other commitments, and they can't necessarily just absolutely dominate areas of knowledge and learn them and blitz them in the same way. So I think, he's saying about dominating the competition, so just clarifying his comment. I think, if we're looking at last week and we're looking at Imperial College and we're looking at a fairly young team who were absolutely stunning. So I think age is probably not an option. And Pammy's just reminding us that we don't want to exclude the Open University, which I know some people have had issues with in the past. So, God, time is running away with. So I'm just going to scoot around my notes to see if there's anything else that leapt out. I noted that there was the Sound of Music's annual appearance on Only Connect Tonight with the Do Re Mi sequence. There's always something in there.
Whoever wrote that question, bravo, bravo, bravo. My previous favourite question was a similar one, where it was like November the 3rd. November the 3rd, the very beginning, etc. And it's where the letter V is in the name. But this one, just Do Re Mi sequence, it's all there. And that's what's genius about the show. It's all there. And we never saw it. It was beautifully done. So, bravo, whoever wrote that. It was spectacular.
Claire, was there any...
I got a sequence question on the first one tonight.
Oh, what was that one? Tell us.
For the plasma.
Oh, yeah, the states of matter.
Liquid parts of blood.
That really...
Plasma, so I want solid.
Yeah, that really freaked me out, actually, to answer it, because we saw plasma and we had an inkling, and then we saw gas turn up and we knew it. And then I assumed liquid, then solid. But when you're on that show, you think, is it, or is it something different? But luckily we had a mathematician and a physics guy on the team, so they're like, yes, it's definitely liquid solid. And I thought, how would you explain solid? Like, and it's one of those things that just disappears from your mind. Like, how do you define what a solid is? What is a solid thing? Like, and everything I could think of, it had holes in or was hollow. I thought is the earth technically a solid? Is it liquid inside? And you just don't, and that's what that show does to your brain. And it's like
Wood was okay though.
Yeah, and in our first round game as well, we had a moment where we knew the sequence was the number of legs increasing by 2 on Signs of the Zodiac. For the life of me, we couldn't think of anything that didn't have 4 legs. Every single sign of the Zodiac. So, Aries.
Sagittarius is a centaur, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
and then we've got Gemini. Gemini, it's twins, so that's 4 as well. And so that's why we ended up giving quite a controversial answer, because we just couldn't for the life of us think of anything that didn't have 4 legs, even though we knew what the answer was.
Did you feel a little bit aggrieved by the adjudication on the
domain names?
Domain names.
No. That's what I've had the most comments about since the show. A lot of people saying you should have been given that. But the difficulty is, I think we gave too specific an answer. We pointedly said domain names that never existed, when in reality they existed, but they were then made defunct. And so, unfortunately, I think we obviously we knew the ballpark of the answer, but unfortunately we went just the wrong side of the internet being invented. We thought those countries had stopped existing pre-internet days, whereas we should have maybe just said domain names that don't exist anymore. We might have got away with it. So yeah, that was a bit of a point of order, and some people have said we should have had that. But to be quite honest, we got given that crab having 10 legs or 6 legs answer in our first round. We got given me too. So we got given that. We got given finger when it should have been banana, and we probably didn't deserve that. We got in our last game swallowing when we didn't know the answer, and the other team gave an answer which is very close to that. And so I think after at least three very jammy answers, I think finally our luck deserved to run out on that one. But yeah, it was
more wrong than the question.
Very magnanimous of you, Jamie. Just a couple of other questions I liked. I think it was the sequences. I mean, I think the Barrow one in round 1 was quite. It was surprisingly just very general knowledge, and I think the opposition were looking for something more devious.
Yeah, so that was a win for Gareth, because he did philosophy at A-level, and he was thinking that Diogenes lived in a jar, and then at the last minute said barrel. And then as soon as he said barrel, I thought, whoever it was must have gone over the waterfall in a barrel. That makes sense. And then after it all happened, I saw 13 Dwarves, and I thought, of course, it's that famous scene from the Hobbit films. And I'm quite glad that they edited out a bit when I said something about that being the best scene of 3 completely unnecessary movies, because I think that would have really angered Middle-earth Twitter. I've got all the orc pros and the Elfin 500 Twitter having a right go at me. So thanks for editing that bit out.
Another couple of cracking questions. I thought the US flag one. I love the blue canton, because I was thinking, well, that's going to be one of the cantons of Switzerland, but I don't know which canton. Of course, canton was the thing that was needed, and then white stripes, red stripe. It was just. And the number
that was brilliant.
Just lovely, that.
Yeah, need to give a shout out to Kieran for that one, because I don't think either me or Gareth had a clue on that one, and he just came out with that, and that was very much his highlight of the run, because saw that from nowhere, but I think based purely on the white stripes and the red stripes, and he just clicked with that one. So yeah, very well played, Kieran, on that one.
Right. Any final comments, Jamie? Kind of wrapping up your Only Connect experience. Claire's still in her competition. Not rubbing this in, just pointing it out. But Jamie, your experience is, well, it came to an end a while back, but tonight was the kind of the denouement. Looking back on your Only Connect experience, how do you sum it up?
Just superb and surprising. As I said earlier, we never expected to get past round 1. We were hoping for double figures. So to get to the quarterfinals was far beyond anything we could have expected. I just want to say thanks to the cast, the crew, Victoria, for just being so lovely and helpful throughout, because they just made, despite the oddity with COVID, they made it just a superb, seamless, wonderful experience. Really friendly, really nice, chatty. Well done to the Dungeon Masters. They were excellent, fully deserved their win. And yeah, it was just something I wanted to go on for years and years, and just such a relief to get on there and not make too massive an idiot of myself. And I just encourage anyone who has any interest in going on it just to go for it, even if you have to get made up with other people in a different team, because even the audition process is really good fun, just to play an episode and meet the gang. So yeah, I'd highly recommend going on it, because everything about it was enjoyable, and the feeling of getting an answer right is just glorious. So yeah, fantastic experience. Really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Well, we've enjoyed watching you and your teammates. We're sorry it's over, but we're glad you're able to join us tonight, and hopefully we'll see you again on the stream. Claire, your journey continues. Now, we don't know your broadcast date yet, but just want to wish you the best of retrospective good luck for your
Thank you very much.
We don't know how you did. I don't want to know how you did, because I want to enjoy finding out along with everybody else. But
that's the toughest thing, not giving it away with just saying something accidentally slipping out, like this is my last appearance. So difficult.
Yeah, all right. Yes, it's very easy to.
That's why I haven't said anything.
Michael Cohn's been worried about whether he gave stuff away last time he was on. He didn't, but now that subsequent match has been shown. Michael McPartland's just saying, join season 2 of the Connections League. So this is an online quiz league playing only Connect. Basically, it's just started its first season. So if anyone wants to find out about that, you go to quizcentral.net. You might even be able to join a team that already exists, because they might have spaces for extra players. But they're basically playing exactly the same game as Only Connect. They've had a blessing from the BBC. They just can't call it Only Connect for licensing reasons. But the Connections Quiz League season 2 will certainly be welcoming people when that happens. See, talking about novelty contestants, Gerard said, from Baron Knights to Baron Knights. Gerard, you are a gift to the world of quizzing. Don't ever change.
I'll have that one.
So thanks, Jamie, for joining us tonight. Claire, thanks again. Hopefully we'll have you both on at future points. Claire, we'll look forward to your semi-final and hearing all about that when that happens. I'm sorry that Emma had to drop off. She sent a message saying her computer had died and she couldn't get on with her phone. So that's unfortunate. We'll try and get Emma on at another time, just so that we can hear from her. She's been on Only Connect, so she's got a perspective to share on these things as well. But thanks to you two for joining us. Thanks to everybody who's watched tonight. Join us on Thursday for Quiz Week Live. Don't forget to look out for our videos over the course of this week. We've got the first Quiz Academy video, and hopefully we've got Speed coming. So look out for those. But we'll see you all again soon, and thank you very much.